Hello and welcome, or perhaps I should say hola and benvinguts to this latest edition of Talking Europe on France 24. This week on the programme, our topic is one of Europe's most vibrant regions, Catalonia. It's home to 7.5 million people, it has its own language, possibly the world's favourite football team, FC Barcelona, a prosperous economy and a large and vocal independence movement. This year, you will have noticed there's been a new push for independence. The regional government calling a referendum before Madrid declared once again in the strongest terms that any such vote would in fact be illegal. So where then does Catalonia go from here? And how much backing is there for independence among its 7.5 million strong population? We'll also be looking at wider issues of independence and separatist movements within Europe. So joining me here at the European Parliament in Strasbourg to debate all of these issues, we have three Catalans with us. I'm pleased to welcome Jordi Soler from the Catalan Republican Left. Thanks for being with us.
Hello, thank you.
And so you're very much in favour of independence?
Well, I am in favor of democracy. I want people to vote. I want to protect the right to decide of the people. And then, just after that, I am for independence because I am convinced that independence is the best way to build a better society, better chances for Catalans.
Okay, and well, we'll take us through a spectrum of political opinion. We'll go next to Ernest Urtasun. Thank you for being with us. Now, you're from the Catalonia Greens and the Greens group here in the European Parliament as well. Now, your position, you're in favour of having a referendum, but not necessarily of breaking away from Spain.
No, I'm more a federalist. I would favour a federal solution, but it's true that we have to recognise that 80% of Catalans want to have a voting on the future, and I strongly support that they have the right to do so. We have to understand that the territorial agreement between Catalonia and Spain of 1978 is broken. We need to fix it, and I don't see another way of fixing it than through a binding referendum where people can decide.
Okay, and just to take us then to our last Catalan among us today, Mr. Santiago Fisas Axela, thank you for being with us. Now, you're with the European People's Party here in the European Parliament. You're former Secretary of State for Sport in Madrid, and your position, I take it, is very much not in favour of independence for Catalonia.
Yes, I was not in Madrid. I was in the Spanish government.
Of course.
Anyway, it's different. Anyhow, yes, I am against the independence of Catalonia. I will say for two reasons. Because I want to be Catalan and I want to be Spanish. And the second reason, because I really think that it will be a bad business for Catalonia.
Okay, well, let's just introduce our final guest as well, Mark de Meesemaker from the New Flemish Alliance. Thank you for being with us. Now, you're with us to give us a little bit more of a context on other independence movements within Europe and how they might pan out for the European Union. Can you just tell us briefly your position?
Well, there's a lot of parallels. There are some differences as well. Flanders is a vibrant nation as well. We don't have this football team. But for the rest, yeah, we are very, very vibrant. And we're in a political context for the moment where we think we cannot deliver the interests of our people, the Flemish people, in the best possible way. We are captured in a Belgian state, which is the sum of two democracies. You have the Flemish democracy and the French-speaking part of where different language, different culture, but also different media, different political mainstreams. It's very difficult to come to an efficient policy on the national federal level. So in the end, ultimately, we would like to see us as an independent state, nation, not to separate. We are not separatists. I don't like that word. We want.
But you think you could work better?
Yeah, we want to give our people also the chance to choose for independence and to work together as partners, as equal partners with the rest of the European Union.
Okay, there we go. So we've got quite a spectrum of opinions and different regions of Europe represented. Just to bring things back to Catalonia, now if we come to some numbers, I know that polls are not necessarily our friend in every situation, but there are many polls on independence carried out by Catalonia itself. And the recent numbers indicate that a majority of people in Catalonia don't actually want to be independent from Spain. Jordi Soler, if I come to you first, as the most pro-independence member of our panel, why then such a big push?
Well, the best poll will be the one on October the 1st. There we will see whether there is or not a majority for independence. So we have to wait and see. I wouldn't say that there isn't a majority for independence. I have the feeling that it's rather the contrary, but we have to let people freely vote and choose, and then we will count the votes and we will see where is the majority. Why we have come to that point where there is a referendum officially called by the Catalan government. It's not that one day we woke up and we decided to go for a referendum on independence. We've been accumulating during the last years many frustrations. We have tried hard to improve the situation, the political situation of Catalonia within the Spanish state. We have tried it many times, and it has been in vain because there is no political will at all in Madrid to recognize that Catalonia is a nation and improve its political status within Catalonia. So we decided to go our own way, which is a way that always will be democratic and peaceful.
Well, let's put the question to Mr. Fisas Aixela as the most against the idea of independence on our panel. Would it not resolve the question for once and for all? Just allow Catalonia to have a referendum?
You know, it's against the Spanish constitution. Then it's not possible. Even
to ask the question is against the constitution.
Yeah, but even if we were sure that we are going to win by 90%, it will be not possible to make a referendum. And the same case in France, the same case in Germany, the same case in Italy, the same case in Poland. I think the only country in the world that allows to do that is Ethiopia, apart that you can reach some agreements, different agreements, because the constitution of the countries allow that the United Kingdom or Canada, for instance, then it's nothing unusual. That is a normal thing. And then, of course, now Jordi said that the best poll it will be the 1st of October. But the 1st of October, I am sure they are going to win by 99%, perhaps, like the Bulgarian referendums under communist regime. I mean, I don't care at all. I am not going to vote in a fake referendum. Then, I mean, for me, it's not important at all. This what happens the 1st of October. It's very important what could happen the 2nd of October, not the 1st of October.
Well, let's come to Ernesto Dustin. I think you have something to say about this.
Well, I wanted to say two things. Well, first, the first responsible of the situation today is the current Spanish government that has done absolutely nothing, has not only to vote, but any offer for a new agreement, nothing. Mr. Rajoy has always thought that this problem will evaporate by itself, and that was a big mistake. They are the first responsible. Second, I cannot agree with Mr. Fisas that he just said that the voting is not possible under that constitution. We have founding fathers of our current constitution, like Mr. Herrero de Miñón, that had very well explained that voting on independence would be absolutely possible. And the third thing I want to say is that my party does not agree with the way that the Catalan government is doing things, because we believe that the unilateral way will not allow Catalans to have a binding referendum on the 1st of October. The 1st of October, maybe we will have an informal voting, like we had on the 9th of November 2014. But it will not be a real referendum because it has no international recognition, and it's true, many Catalans that will want to vote no will not go to the ballot boxes, and that is also a problem. So I would say 1st of October maybe we'll have an informal voting, but most important is what happened afterwards. And afterwards, in my opinion, we need to start working to have a real binding referendum for Catalans really to decide.
Well, just if we can get our outside point of view on this from Mr. de Mismaker, as somebody who wants independence for your own region, it does seem like this tussle for independence between Catalonia and the central government in Madrid, it's perhaps not leading anywhere. It's leading to these feelings of an anti-democratic process on different sides. It's perhaps not encouraging to the independence cause of any other region in Europe.
Well, we have another strategy. We are not going towards a referendum. We try to reform the Belgian state step by step. For the moment, it is already a federal state. We want to go further, make it like a confederal. We have a confederal model already. And in the end, we want our own place in Europe. So we have another strategy. What I see, of course, in Spain is the lack of dialogue and the lack of dialogue. We've been able to reform the Belgian state because there was room for dialogue, and I like that, of course, in Spain. In the UK, we've seen that dialogue as well, and we've seen a government in Downing Street who allowed the Scottish to have their referendum on independence. They consider the UK as a united kingdom, as a family of nations, and that is, I don't see that in Spain, I don't see that in Madrid, and I think that is a mistake.
It does seem that there is so much bad feeling growing between Catalonia and Madrid because of these issues. Is there another way? Has the Catalan regional government been a little bit too aggressive with this, Mr. Soler?
First of all, let me say that I cannot accept that the upcoming referendum, which is desired by 80% of Catalans, is compared to Bulgarian elections under the communist regime. I think that this is a clear lack of respect towards this large majority of Catalans that just want to vote. Please don't compare a democratic exercise, which will take place in a couple of days, to something that was under a democratic regime.
At all.
Having said that,
the law, then it's
having said that, I think it's too late. I think it's too late to try to get an agreement to, not because of us, because we have tried 16 times. We have asked the Spanish parliament, the Spanish government, to reach an agreement over the terms of how Catalans can decide, can exercise our right to self-determination. And the answer has always been no. No to dialogue, no to anything coming from Catalonia. So now it's too late, because our government, the Catalan government, has a democratic mandate, and that mandate comes from the people that elected the current Catalan parliament. And this is a mandate for independence. This is a mandate for a referendum. So the Catalan government is just honoring that mandate that came from the people. This is about democracy. This is about democratic ways of letting people decide.
It does feel like this question is just going to keep coming back and back and back.
It's not true, because even the Catalan law, the Catalan statute, the Catalan constitution said to change the Catalan statute then to vote, for instance, for the independence, you need two-thirds. Two-thirds of the parliament is not there. And of course they have a very skinny majority in the parliament, but not even on the popular vote. Then it's not a majority asking that. And of course the Spanish government never could, not the Spanish, this government, EPP, socialists, any kind of Spanish government, can't allow a vote against the Constitution. That is simply impossible. We can vote about many things in favor of Catalonia, many things. And I am not saying that everything that has been done by the Spanish government in Madrid has been perfect. I am not saying that. But what is not possible is to vote and to solve perhaps some complaints, even I will say fair complaints, by this, I will say, crash that is an illegal referendum.
Okay, well, it does seem that things are at quite an impasse. Mr. Urtasun, if we come to you, seeing as you occupy this perhaps middle ground of our debate, we've talked about dialogue, we've talked about this clash. Are there any other options that can be tried? How can the tone be changed?
Well, I think that, well, we don't like the scenario of going to an institutional confrontation. We believe that's wrong. But we know also to put the responsibility where it lies. The responsibility, as I said, lies primarily in Madrid. We have seen in Scotland there was a conservative government like we have in Madrid that decided to negotiate because there was a strong demand in Scotland, and Mr. Cameron accepted the referendum. I think now, probably before the 1st of October that will be impossible, but after 1st of October what we would like to put pressure on is on the Spanish government and also on the Catalan government to sit together and negotiate a binding referendum. But I'm very much convinced, and I want to end here, that the Catalan solution will not come until Catalans have the possibility to freely vote on a binding referendum. This is absolutely of utmost importance. Otherwise, the crisis will just go on.
Okay, well, let's just move slightly away from that. We are running out of time, unfortunately. I'm just looking at this in the context of a Europe that's losing one of its member states, the United Kingdom, through the Brexit. We've also got Scotland looking for independence as well. Mr. de Meersemaeker, do you see Europe as as an institution that is going to become more fragmented in future? Is that the way that if it wants to hold together, that it has to proceed to allow more dislocation within its member states?
Well, it's not a matter of fragmentation for me. It's a matter of, you know, how to build Europe from not bottom up, but on the contrary, to give nations the freedom to cooperate on an equal basis. All these nations we're talking about, Scotland, Flanders, Catalonia, they're very pro-European, and they are very well prepared to work together in a very constructive way. We see our future together in a European context, not as a nation that will close itself off from the outside world. So I think that Europe will even work better with nations who realize, small nations but vibrant nations, who realize they need each other, they have to work together on a more global scale.
Well, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for this very vibrant debate. Thank you all so much for being with us. I'd like to thank my guests, Santiago Fisas-Axelas, Ernest Urtasun, Jordi Solé and Marc de Meesmaker. And also thank you for watching. Do stay with us here on Talking Europe. We've got plenty more European news coming up for you in part 2.
The 51%, presented by Annette Young.
A programme about women who are reshaping our world. We meet those who seek equality, be it in the boardroom or at the village well. The 51% brings you stories from across the globe about the women who are challenging the way we think.
The 51% on France 24 and France24.com.